Well, thank you very much. First of all, I'm delighted to have an opportunity to talk with you about Fulbright and also about Kalamazoo. Many of our students, as you've alluded, study abroad. Our students study all over the world. We're on 6 of the 7 continents, and most of them are gone for 6 months or longer. What this does, I think, for the students is to ignite a very strong passion for things international. And when many of them graduate, the first thing they want to do is to look for a way to continue that deep intercultural learning that they got a small taste of on their first trip abroad. So many of them see the Fulbright as an opportunity to do that. They have, many of them received the Fulbright, and much later I find many of those who had the Fulbright in the Department of State. So I think part of what the college does is create a deep commitment and a deep understanding of the fact that we are a global community and that we have to be responsible for one another, and then our students look for ways to deepen that learning. Because internationalization is so much a part of the fabric at Kalamazoo College, it's very important to us as an institution to expand the capacity in the faculty, regardless of their area of expertise, to deepen their own international engagement as well. And so the Fulbright Scholar Program provides for us another avenue of professional development that, and in many ways enables us to extend the resources that we have to provide these kinds of opportunities for our faculty. I think that faculty who have the opportunity to participate in the Fulbright deepen their engagement with the world. They build strong partnerships with colleagues in their discipline in another part of the world, and that, of course, has an impact on the campus when they return. I think another thing that happens is that they also begin to encourage other colleagues to think about the Fulbright, but also students that they're advising to say, well, as you're thinking about what you're going to do next, have you thought about the Fulbright? There is another piece of our curriculum which is quite defining for all Kalamazoo College students, and that's every graduate must complete during the senior year what we call a senior individualized project. It is at minimum a thesis. Some people argue that some of them are so in-depth that they could be considered master's level work. That becomes a deep piece of a student's engagement for a whole quarter, and it is done under the mentorship of a faculty member. And very often the time and the energy and the intellectual discipline that's been put in that work helps a student identify something that they're either passionate about or that they're deeply curious about and would like to continue. And often then in the interplay with the faculty mentor who is shaping the student's work and critiquing the student's work, and the extended conversation, which becomes what are you likely to do next, there's an interplay there that could very easily lead to the consideration of a Fulbright. If you don't mind my telling a story, I'll tell a story about a student who graduated this year who will be a Fulbright scholar in Spain, because I think it shows this interplay. His study abroad was in Spain. He's an African American male, and he began to see himself and blackness in a new light when he was in Spain. So when he came back, his question was, so how would this play out in an African country? What might that be like? I had this experience in Europe. It was different from my experience of being an African American in the US. What might it feel like in Africa? And through some funding that our college has to enable students to do their independent research in other countries, he went to South Africa between his junior and senior year, teaching performance poetry, but also interrogating this question of what does it mean to be an African American in South Africa. He then came back and produced a body of poetry that included poems from Spain, poems from South Africa, and poems during his experience at Kalamazoo College. He will go back to Spain now on the Fulbright, and he's going to continue this work. And the idea of, well, how would you continue it, happened, of course, with his faculty advisor, who said, you've got this body of work, you've got this interest in teaching, you're still trying to understand what does it mean to be a world citizen. This all fits together. And I think that happens quite a bit for us.